plans at the Shala for this week is coming to the end of our studies on the koshas. So we're just going to do the usual review, the layers, the sheaths of who we are. On the yoga philosophy, we start with Anandamaya kosha, the body. What's next? Pranamaya kosha, the energy. Where's everyone's energy today? Okay. And then the next one is moving inward. Vijnanamaya kosha, wisdom. And then the innermost, right sitting next to the soul is this week. What is that? Kim? Anandamaya kosha, the bliss, yes. So this one is, as we get closer to the soul, I feel like the translation gets a little bit more tricky. A common translation for Anandamaya kosha is bliss. And I always compare it to one of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga, the yamas, niyamas, pranayama, asana, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Which one would we compare that to or say is similar to? Samadhi. So when we talk about the state of samadhi, we say you can't describe it. You know, it's undescribable. And so Anandamaya kosha winds up being similar to that, where the moment we start to be able to really define it, the mind gets involved and we kind of lose the essence of it. So, so one translation, as Iyengar had written about it, would say that it's kind of this combination of feeling love and joy and contentment. And in that feeling, the difference of having those normal feelings of happiness and joy and love is that they're not necessarily contingent on the external or the manomaya kosha. So what's happening in your life, you know, oftentimes I just got a raise, oh, I'm so happy, you know, I just got married to the person I love, oh, I'm so happy, you know, but this particular happiness or joy is different because it's not based on what's happening in my external world, but more of this feeling that comes sort of from the inside. So myself, I feel like I have sort of moments of this, you know, where it comes to me and I'm with it, and the minute my mind starts maybe thinking about it, I lose it a little bit. But I don't know, do you guys feel that way? Like, have you ever just been, maybe you woke up in the morning or something was during the day where all of a sudden you just kind of sat with this feeling of great peace or joy, and yet you realized it wasn't really attached to anything? Have you ever had that feeling? It's an amazing feeling, and you know, the thing about it is it's really nothing that we can chase. When you have that feeling, you know, it's not like we can chase after it because it sort of is something that surfaces for us. So my opinion on this, and again, this is just my humble opinion, is when we really work on cleaning and integrating the other sheaths of our body and our energy and focusing our mind and moving into our own internal wisdom and clearing the lake and cleaning the lake so we can go down to the depth of it, I feel like Anandamaya kosha then sort of becomes a gift, if you will, or the fruit of our other koshas. You know, where when we are able to, you know, work deeper towards our internal self, then this is something that comes to us naturally. You know, we've almost cultivated it through all the other koshas that we are working on, that we then have this feeling. And then we're not attached to it either. Like, it comes to us almost as a gift and we experience it, and it feels wonderful while we have it, and it goes away for that moment, and that's all right too, is really the trueness of that particular feeling, for me anyway. As we're studying Iyengar's Light on Life, if you read a little bit about Anandamaya kosha, he talks a lot about this idea of I am. Do you guys remember that in his chapter? It was right towards the beginning of the chapter. Do you remember what the I am stuff was about? I am what? I am a yoga teacher. You could say I am a professor. I am a wife. I am a mother. You know, and Iyengar was saying these are all things that we take on, but really we can take them off as well. And even if I say to you, all of you, well, I am a woman. Well, there was a time when I wasn't a woman, I was a child. You know, so we realize when we look at the deepest aspect of who we are, we really come down to the essence of who we are, and all these other things we put on ourselves we realize are just, I like to think of them almost as like jackets I put on, you know, because the jacket of being a yoga teacher, I love it right now. It feels so right to me, you know, but maybe as I grow older, I will take the jacket off, you know. So it's something that we realize so much of. We put our identity in these jackets. But I'm a yoga teacher. You guys all remember I had the accident in India 5 years ago, and I didn't know if I would be a yoga teacher. You know, when I was in that serious car accident, it was very profound for me to sit with that and be like, well, who am I if I'm not a yoga teacher, you know? Who am I if I'm not a mom? Who am I if I'm not a wife? Who am I if I'm not, you know, all these things that we put on ourselves. And it's a very deep place that takes us to even beyond the wisdom, like the very essence of the soul, which is where we're sitting right now with this beautiful idea of Ananda Maya kosa. So I, on Sunday, really came to the end of the teachings and got to this place that it's almost like a gift I want to give back to you, to think of this mat, this yoga mat that we all bought, that we carry around with us everywhere, right? I want you guys to think of this as a metaphor or an analogy of this beautiful practice that for each one of you is probably one of the most transformative things in your life. You know, when we come to this rectangle, we have the ability to let go of everything else and give ourselves this 1 hour, this hour and a half that we completely devote to ourselves. And in that devotion, I'm going to keep all the layers of who I am healthy. I'm going to maintain my physical health, my energetic health, and the health of my mind for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, until I'm 60, 70, 80. I can make that commitment right now to that mat for the rest of my life. I always tell my students, listen, it only requires 2 things. You know what the 2 things are? One is that you have a piece of earth, a ground, and the second one is that you're breathing. You have those 2 things, you have your yoga practice, and you have it for the rest of your life. And for me, I believe that if we are able to come and keep cleaning these koshas and clearing them through our practice every day, every day, every day, for all of us, it brings us into these places of transformation where we find ourselves growing and changing, and no matter what age I am, like becoming a better version of myself, a more connected or compassionate or loving version of myself. So I want to ask all of you that are doing the class or the practice with me today to make a special devotion as we do the invocation, and take a moment to practice gratitude for finding this practice, that it showed up on your path, and a moment of just feeling the depth of the practice as it serves you today, but moving forward as this beautiful, precious gift that we're going to have for the rest of our lives.